Now, before we start today's video, I have to say something. I've always been a big skeptic when it comes to technology and language learning. The big promise of tech has been that it makes things in your life quicker and easier. And there are loads of apps on the App Store on your iPhone that do indeed do this. But with language learning, it doesn't work. And the main reason is that language learning is actually really hard and takes a really long time. And so anything that purports to find a shortcut or to cut out the difficulty of it is a gimmick. It doesn't work. Fundamentally, there are only two parts to language learning. You've got input and you've got output. Now, on the input side, we have actually seen some really big improvements from the internet. We can now access content anywhere in the world. We've got flashcard apps that are really useful on your phone. You've got electronic dictionaries. You can read on your Kindle and look up words instantly. But in spite of all of this, the basics still work well. Reading books is still just as good as any other activity and probably better than anything else you can do on your phone. But on the output side, we haven't seen anywhere near as much change. If you want to get good at speaking, you have to speak a lot. And that means either going and finding real-life human beings around you to practice with, which is great fun, but often quite difficult, or else connect with people online through sites like Language Talk, where you can get teachers and connect with people, and you're paying them an hourly rate to do so. But this whole process is still really difficult because you have to schedule things, you have to find the time, and that's why all language learners are eventually left uttering the phrase, "I wish I had someone to practice speaking with." And technology has provided no good answer to this. Until now, when AI burst onto the scene about a year ago, you can understand, given my history, why I was a little bit skeptical of it. Here we go again, just another new tech gimmick. But it quickly became quite clear that this was going to have some big implications for language learning. So I sat down with my friend and fellow YouTuber Xiaoma and co-founded a new tool where we started to experiment with combining artificial intelligence with our knowledge of language learning to see if we could create a way to get you unlimited 24/7 on-demand speaking practice in the language you're learning that mimics an interaction with a real human being. If this worked, it would solve the speaking practice problem for everybody. It wouldn't replace the need for a real human teacher, but it would allow you to get all the practice you needed to build confidence and practice what you've learned. Now, Teacher AI is still in early development, but I think it's ready to show you exactly what it's capable of. So let's log in and practice speaking a few languages at different levels to see exactly how it behaves. Hola, Daniel, te llamas, ¿no?
Sí, me llamo Daniel García. ¿Cómo te llamas tú?
Soy Olly, mucho gusto. ¿De qué hablamos hoy?
Mucho gusto, Olly. Podemos hablar sobre tus hobbies, la cultura mexicana o lo que te interese. ¿Qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre?
So right here, I'm finding a little bit basic. So I'm going to update my teacher preferences to make it so that Daniel doesn't speak any English, doesn't correct my mistakes, and also speaks at a more normal speed. Also, as you've just seen, there is a bit of latency, which is the gap between when you speak and when you receive your response from the tutor. For the sake of making it a more engaging YouTube video, though, I'm going to cut out those gaps for the rest of the video. Pues de hecho, cultura mexicana no conozco mucho porque aprendí mi español en España o en las Canarias. ¿Conoces tú?
Sí, conozco las Islas Canarias. Son muy bonitas. Y sobre la cultura mexicana, te puedo contar mucho. ¿Qué te interesa saber de México?
While all this is going on, Teacher AI is gathering your vocabulary in the background. So it knows what your passive vocabulary is. That's words that you've heard or been exposed to. It also knows what your active vocabulary is, which is words that you've actually used yourself. And it's gathering all of these and listing them here. So you can go through them. You can click on them to hear the pronunciation, get the translation. You can even export a CSV so that you can put them into your favorite flashcard apps or do whatever you want with them. Pues no sé, ¿me puedes decir cuáles son las diferencias las diferencias principales entre España y México, culturalmente hablando?
Claro, una de las diferencias es la comida. En México tenemos tacos, enchiladas y mole, por ejemplo. La música también es diferente. Acá es popular la ranchera y el mariachi. Además, las festividades, como el Día de Muertos, son únicas de México. ¿Has probado la comida mexicana?
Sí, claro. Fui a México en 2018, 17 y no, comía bastante de todo. Pero dime una cosa, ¿cómo te parece mi español?
Me parece que hablas muy bien. Es genial que hayas podido practicar español en México y que hayas probado nuestra comida. ¿Qué fue lo que más te gustó de México?
Right, it's time to switch languages, so let's change over to Portuguese. And this time I'm going to start to deliberately throw in some mistakes to see how the tutor reacts. E aí, professor? Tudo bem? Como é que tá?
E aí, tudo certinho por aqui. E você, como é que tá se sentindo hoje?
Muito bom, cara. Eu tava com vontade de falar com você.
Que bom saber disso. Sempre tô aqui pra gente trocar ideia. E aí, sobre o que você quer conversar hoje?
Você pode corrigir alguns erros que eu faço com o meu português?
Claro, erros são parte do aprendizado e eu tô aqui pra te ajudar com isso. Só fala naturalmente e eu te corrijo quando precisar. O que você tá achando mais difícil no português agora?
Por exemplo, eu falei agora erros, mas na verdade é erros, é isso?
Isso aí é erros. Erros é a palavra certa em português. Você tá pegando o jeito. Mais alguma coisa que você notou que quer corrigir?
Acho que eu falei erros porque eu tô pegando do espanhol, né? Errores. Tem alguma ideia para não confundir o espanhol e o português?
É comum confundir as duas línguas porque são bem parecidas. Uma ideia é praticar mais com conteúdo só em português, como músicas, filmes ou conversas, para ficar mais com o português na cabeça. Há algum outro ponto que você quer dica ou ajuda?
Eu não entendo dica. O que quer dizer?
Dica quer dizer conselho, sugestão ou informação que ajuda a fazer algo melhor. Então, se você precisa de uma dica, você está pedindo por um conselho. E aí, entendeu o que dica significa agora?
No, can you explain it to me in English?
Sure. The word dica means a tip, advice, or a piece of information that helps you do something better or learn more effectively. So when you're asking for a dica, you're essentially asking for some guidance or assistance. Got it now? Let's switch back to Portuguese and keep practicing.
Tá bom. Então você pode me dar algumas dicas para melhorar meu português? Right, it's time to switch languages again, so let's change to French. And this time I'm going to deliberately try to speak at a lower level, throw in a lot more mistakes, so you can see how the tool might react if you were around an intermediate level in the language. Bonjour, moi c'est Olly. Toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Salut Olly, je m'appelle Pauline. Tu fais quoi aujourd'hui?
Aujourd'hui, je bosse, je travaille, et j'avais envie de parler avec quelqu'un en français.
C'est cool que tu veuilles pratiquer ton français. Tu travailles dans quoi?
Veuille, ça veut dire quoi?
Veuille, c'est la conjugaison du verbe vouloir pour il ou elle au présent du subjonctif. Ici, je l'utilise pour dire « c'est bien que tu veuilles pratiquer ». Tu comprends mieux?
Ah, je comprends bien maintenant. Merci.
De rien? Alors, tu travailles dans quel domaine?
Mon travail, en fait, c'est teaching languages, mais je ne sais pas comment dire ça.
Teaching languages, c'est enseigner des langues en français. Tu enseignes quelle langue?
Now, since I'm an intermediate level, I'm finding it a little bit fast, and so I'm going to update the teacher preferences to get the teacher to speak more slowly and also to use a lot more English to help me out. En fait, maintenant, j'enseigne 15 langues différentes.
Waouh, c'est impressionnant. Quelle est la langue que tu préfères enseigner?
Tu parles très lentement maintenant. Quelque chose a changé?
Non, rien n'a changé. Peut-être c'est juste l'impression que ça donne. Tu veux qu'on parle de quelque chose en particulier?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Je suis désolée, je ne comprends pas. So, it should be je suis désolée, je ne comprends pas. Could you please repeat?
Je suis désolé, je ne comprends pas.
Pas de problème, on peut aller plus doucement. De quoi aimerais-tu parler?
And now we're going to switch to a language that I do not speak at all more than a few words, which is German. So let's see how the tool reacts. Now, Tutor AI is not built as a beginner language tool. It's a speaking practice tool. But anyway, let's see what happens. Guten Morgen.
Du hast schon Guten Morgen gesagt. Wie läuft die Arbeit?
Now, at the beginner level, the ability to click on words and get an instant translation
Läuft.
becomes really quite useful. Es läuft gut.
Das ist super. Isst du in der Mittagspause etwas Besonderes?
I have no idea what you just said. My German's not very good.
Sorry about that. I asked if you eat something special during your lunch break. What do you usually have for lunch?
And as you can tell, not everything is perfect yet. Some of the voices, when we slow them right down, are a little bit funny, especially when they have accent. But the technology is improving so quickly that these little bugs are improving on a weekly basis. So it ain't perfect, but it's improving quickly. Okay, and what was the phrase in German? Can you repeat it for?
Etwas? Isst du in der Mittagspause etwas Besonderes? Now your turn. Please repeat.
So Mitte, I guess that's break.
Mittagspause.
Bissl.
Besonderes.
Isst du in der Mittagspause etwas Besonderes?
Fast richtig. Es heißt, isst du in der Mittagspause etwas Besonderes? Bitte wiederhole es.
Now, I don't know what you think of what you've just seen. You can let me know in the comments, but I want to talk about the title of this video and why it is what it is. You know, when we first started building Teacher AI, I admit I was skeptical that we would be able to create something that I would actually want to use. Like, yeah, it's just more tech. You know, I'm happy with my books. I'm happy speaking with my friends. You know, I don't need anything new. But then the last few weeks happened. And in the last few weeks, I've been speaking French with Teacher AI, and I've spoken more French in the last 3 weeks than in the last 22 years combined. Since I left Paris in the year 2000, I have not really ever had any French friends. I haven't spoken French. I've let it slip away. And then in the blink of an eye, I've now managed to start speaking again and to start to reclaim everything that I've lost. And I've even improving my level, learning new words and phrases, getting to listen a lot. It's an emotional experience. And this technology, even if it's not ready just yet, even if it's still got a long way to go, this does change everything. And let me be clear, it doesn't replace anything. I'm still going to be reading my books and taking my courses. I'm still going to be taking lessons from real human teachers to get personalized feedback from a real person to learn how to interact naturally. But what this does is it gives unlimited opportunity to practice speaking in a natural way, which is how you get good at speaking. This doesn't replace anything, but it does change everything. And I think we are in for a few very, very exciting years ahead. But there is one thing that I haven't told you yet, because you see, you've seen a number of different teachers during the course of this video speaking different languages, but I have also cloned myself. And inside Teacher AI, you can now practice speaking dozens of different languages with me. Now, that might sound like your worst nightmare or just a bit of fun. But either way, if you'd like to check out Teacher AI and practice speaking your target language with Olly or with any number of the other teachers we have, link in the description below. Click the link, have a look around. We've got lots more information there. And if you do decide to join us inside Teacher AI, I hope that it makes the kind of difference to your language learning that it has for me.